Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The average person between the ages of 65 and 90 consume 30 prescription drugs per week.
Wow.
In the U.S., doctors routinely prescribe harmful medications to older patients, and the problem is particularly acute in the South. A new study shows that drug abuse and misuse in the elderly population is very significant. I went home to visit my mother 2 years ago, and as I saw her pull out her pill caddy, it disturbed me. So we went through and we did an inventory. And I asked her, okay, Mom, what is this for? What is this for? Well, I need to take this so that I can have this, or I need to take that so it's a side effect of that. And that disturbed me greatly. When I found out that she was taking 5 blood pressure medications, I was floored. My mother's 85 years old. She receives Meals on Wheels every day. How does she need to take 5 blood pressure medications? So while we were there, we scheduled an appointment with her physician. And me being her daughter, I went in and pinned them against the wall, and I wanted to know, why is she taking these medications? So I went through the list, and I had him identify each and every one and why it was necessary. By the end of the meeting, need I say, he was trembling because he knew that Miss Williams' daughter was in great concern of her mother. By the time we left there, I managed to get him to say, okay, she could reduce taking 3 of them, and 2, we would simply take her off. Elderly individuals are particularly vulnerable to prescription drug misuse and abuse. The misuse is defined by Belinda Baska, who's a contributing editor to Preventive Tactics, as a non-adherence to prescription directions and can be either willful or accidental. She says patterns of abuse where prescription drugs are not medically necessary are taken intentionally and also seen in seniors. Prescription drug abuse is present in 12 to 15% of our elderly individuals who seek medical attention. Some of the most common prescription drugs that are misused are things that for the central nervous system, such as anxiety medications as Xanax. Some are also stimulants for those who feel a little sleepy during the day, so they'll give them a stimulant to help them give a little pep throughout the day. Those are called barbiturates. Some opiates are also effective, such as analgesics and pain reducers. Vicodin and oxycodone are also prescribed just as off the cuff as a routine prescription. These drugs have been associated with addiction problems, just as the same addiction as you will if you were to voluntarily take heroin. So the prevalence is that it's a vast majority in the cases where seniors take these prescriptions. The elderly make up the largest consumer segment. So what do we do about it? What do we do about it? Well, the contributing editor also came up with a list of, she came up with the list of the most common drugs, and you can find them, the most 10 common drugs that are on the bad boy list. If you have a parent or someone you know who takes numerous pills, please find this list on the internet and make sure that your loved one is being taken care of. Now, many of the symptoms of the misuse and abuse are memory loss, disorientation, frequent falls, depression, or chronic boredom. Now, it also has been known that elderly people sometimes it's a psychological issue with them. Going to the doctor is a way of socializing, okay? Perhaps you don't have your loved ones or your children like me who live far away and you can't get to them or have someone come by and visit you. So it's a way to get in and have a socialization. Oh, you know, if I can say I have this issue, I can go in, I know I'll get some type of socialization, and then I get a medication. That is sad to say. That is very sad to say. Another symptom would also be that often the elderly and their families and their service providers are uninformed about the potential misuse. There are so many medications that are being prescribed, and perhaps they're going to different pharmacies. One doesn't know what the other one is doing, and they are able to get the medication that they need. And then sometimes those two collide and can cause issues. Now, I mentioned that the South was one of the major one of the hardest hit, but believe it or not, according to the New York Times, Anand O'Connor writes that the city with the most alarming rate is Albany, Georgia, where nearly 40% of seniors on Medicare had received prescriptions for high-risk drugs. And then the next largest city is Alexandria, Louisiana. So I say to you today, if you've ever witnessed like I did, my mother sitting on the side of the bed with a handful of pills trying to determine, do I take this one in the morning and not take this one in the afternoon? Or trying to decide, well, if I have diarrhea, do I take the Imodium, but I still got to take the probiotic? These are concerns that we need to look into and help care for our loved ones. Toastmaster of the day.